I don't know how you introduced the pre-show.
Holy shit, another year. I can't. That's crazy. That is completely wild to me. 2021, not quite as bad as 2020.
I would argue worse.
No.
My dog died, John.
Well, that's one way to kick off the Let's Fight a Boss Game of the Year celebration.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, everyone. I'm really revving the wheels, but I cannot get out of this mode. Oh, rest in peace, Piper. You're a beautiful creature. And that's how we're starting.
Yeah, there we go.
That's just what we're rolling in as. Wow, all those people who skip the pre-show every year, boy, are they going to regret it this year. What an opener. Oh my fucking god. I guess the first things first, I just want to address a few things. First of all, this is like the last episode of my current reign as king of this podcast, the Nameless King. I think I don't really want to toot my own horn, but it has been a sensational run. So many all-time highs for this podcast. Listenership, Patreon, we got an editor. I think I have clearly proven my ability to take this podcast to the next level. In like some might say, and I would never say this because I feel like it's disrespectful, so understand this isn't coming from me, that I have done more for this podcast in a year than either of you chuckle fucks managed in half a decade. Which I would never say, but that is the word I hear.
Who says that?
That's the word I hear going around the Discord.
I think we ran a tight ship. I think we just sort of kept it chill and didn't force any weird ideas upon anyone.
We didn't birth a cult. In fact, we made fertile soil for all the improvements to grow from. It's like, I feel like we prepped you. We built a ship, we put it on water, and we were going somewhere, and then you took over the ship and continued just to sail it, but also kind of steered it into a storm of cult worship.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of cult stuff, and that it's just not clicking with me. Like, I just don't understand where that's coming from. Like, I don't...
You have a bunch of weird John followers, and you can go in there and be like, lads, he's not doing anything for you. And they're like, that's the point, I like it. And it's like,
oh, you mean the Church of the Nameless? I think you'd have to be pretty fucking stupid to think that that's a cult. No, that like I've said it before, that is a special Discord channel for a group of like-minded individuals exchanging business and networking advice.
I don't think you've exchanged any business and networking advice in there.
I don't talk about our business with outsiders, but all I'm going to say, profits up.
That's because it's a shell and there's nothing.
Profits
up. But profits aren't going down.
Profits up.
They're not going down either.
Yeah.
Because the balance is zero.
Okay, look, last thing I'll say just about my leadership. And I want to say this not only to both of you, but everyone listening. You're welcome.
Okay. I think, and this is a conclusion I've come to, is that maybe we need to dissolve the monarchy.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need to dissolve it all.
Did you know? Monarchy? Bad thing.
I guess if you two want to step back from the contest, I'm okay with that. I agree with you, Neve.
Really? Shit. I don't know where to go now. Okay. Maybe we should turn it into democracy. Have our patrons vote.
That's always good when people are like, who's your favorite member of a thing that you like? That never gets toxic.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that this is happening now that I have maintained an iron grip on the podcast.
I'm just throwing out ideas, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be too brutal here, but it's lackluster bullshit like this, Neve, that made you a completely ineffective leader for 5 years.
Look, as a queen, I didn't die from any wasting disease, so I feel like I've done pretty well.
She didn't get gout.
Yeah. Have
She
all my
didn't get
toes.
gout. Yeah, no, that is true.
Didn't die.
That is all true. Guys, that's going to do it for Game of the Year. Kind of just wanted to keep it short this year, get a couple of stingy bits in there. I feel like we got them. Congratulations again to Last of Us 2. Did that come out this year?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, look, this is the pre-show. This is the warm-up. Everyone who's listening right now, these are all the real motherfuckers. These aren't the Johnny-come-latelys who only listen to the main show. You know, in fact, I think I'm just going to forbid people from listening to the main show unless they've listened to the pre-show. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
There's going to be jokes in the pre-show that will make sense in the main show, and that's the point.
Kind of like a plant and payoff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Brian, just plant something there.
Okay. I'm going to make some toast.
Okay, now we're just going to leave that seed.
Yeah.
See what it turns into.
Yeah. Not setting an alarm on my phone to remind myself about this at all. No, I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't be a sad thing to do.
Oh, guys, we have several subcategories here to get through. So, first up, we have one of my personal favorites, Best New Character. And the nominations are, Neve, take us through them.
Colt Vaughn. Is that it? I didn't know it. His next
No, me
second
neither.
His name is Colt Vaughn.
Nice work, Brian.
From
Yeah.
Deathloop.
Frog from Dojoran.
I think when I think about Frog from Dojoran, my first question is like, who is this?
Oh, we'll see.
I think we need to see right now.
Yeah. Giovanna from Guilty Gear Strive.
Yep.
Lady Demetrice from Resident Evil Village.
Hell yeah.
Rivet from Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. And Galerius from The Forgotten City.
So that's 6 characters, all introduced to the masses this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess we got to make some cuts.
I need to look up who Frog is.
Frog is the main character from Dojoran. He's just a little pixel frog. All he's got going for him is that he's a frog.
Okay.
Which is
Brian,
a pro.
I will cut Giovanna if you cut Frog.
Sure.
Because Giovanna is just like, yep, there's everything I like rolled into a single character. I'm not going to claim she's like amazing or anything.
I'd pick Giovanna over the frog, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think either of them are going to hang with the heavier members on this list.
Look, the frog is on the list. That's enough.
That's important. Giovanna, you're aesthetically perfect. You are everything I like rolled into one character. Thank you so much for spending many, many hours with me this year.
Okay, so that's number 6, Frog. Number 5, Giovanna.
Mm-hmm.
What's number 4? We got Colt, Lady D, Rivet, and Galerius.
I think we should cut Colt.
Yeah. I think, you know what Colt is? A really great vocal performance and not a whole lot else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And very good clothes.
Very good clothes. Great design.
Me and Stephanie cheesed that game a lot and unlocked all the extra outfits. He looks good in every single one.
I could still... I will never be able to convey the terror I felt when Neve invaded my game.
I was hunting him and then I just got a message that you had died from falling into the river. And I was just like, I hope that was from panic.
It was. No, it totally was. I was like, oh god, this is the worst of all universes.
So you got scared and made a mistake with your body.
Shit my pants, fell in the river, died. Okay. So then the remaining 3 we have are Lady D, Rivet, and Galerius. Galerius?
Galerius. Yeah.
So I guess, Neve, people are probably asking, who is Galerius?
Galerius is a very friendly, bald man who you meet in the Forgotten City. And he is the first character you meet in the Roman world. And he greets you at a time portal and he's like, whoa, friend. And he's the most helpful character in every video game. His, job as an NPC and as a character is to basically do your bidding. Everything you've figured out about that world that you need for this clockwork thing to work, you can tell him to do it.
So I guess might as well mention it here. things are going to get spoilery for these. If you've never listened before, we're not dealing with spoilers. We are just going for it. We're not going to go out of our way to spoil anything, but if we need to argue in favor of something in the game, we are just going to do it.
So here are spoilers for the Forgotten City.
And this is your last warning.
And there's no timestamp.
No, there's no timestamp, and this is your last warning for everything we talk about today. You know what?
I'll probably do another warning.
No, you know what? We're not doing a warning in the main show.
Okay. At least put it in the description.
Okay, I'll put it in the description, but below the cutoff. Okay, that is what people get, and I will bring this point up like in 8 hours or whatever when we're done podcasting. I will tell people at the end of that, if you're annoyed about spoilers, you should have listened to the pre-show. Oh, I love that. But anyway, so the Forgotten City is a time loop game. You start at the beginning of a day. At the beginning of the day, when you go to the time portal at the end of the day. And what's cool is if you do a side quest, you go do the thing, you save the person, you get the medicine, then you come out of the time portal and you can be like, Galerius, buddy, get this medicine, bring it to this person, and he'll just go do the quest for you. And you feel so good about that character because of that one mechanic. I just felt, Galerius, buddy. He's likable other than that, for sure, but I think that is his main
appeal is he's the most helpful mechanic / character ever in a game.
Yeah, for sure. But my question is, does that make him stand up with Rivet and Lady D?
No, I don't think so.
Rivet has a pink nose. It's so good.
That's very cute.
I love Rivet so much. Brand new playable character in the Ratchet & Clank series, and that's a tough thing to do. And she wins you over right away with her charm. She's super cool design. I love her prosthetic arm. Really interesting backstory with it. I love how she's a Lombax just like Ratchet is, but she's styled so differently. She does she braids her tail, doesn't she? So it's not as fluffy.
Yeah, I think either her one's the fluffier one, or Ratchet's has a little palm at the end, and hers is more like a raccoon tail.
That's it, yeah. I just think it's really cool how it's this alien species, but they go so differently with her design.
Mm-hmm. And it's they've beaten the curse. There's such a thing when you have mascot characters and they try do the girl version and it just fucking sucks. It is so bad.
Like Miss Pac-Man with the bow on top.
Yeah, just
that's the bad glaring example.
The evolution
Pac-Man,
of that.
and then basically the 40 years of Miss Pac-Mans we got after that.
The girl chipmunks and the chipmunks, just it always it's no one wants to be her.
Yeah, but
with Rivet, that is a cool design. She looks great. I love her little piercings on her ears.
Yeah. No, she's so cool as a female counterpart that weighs up beside her male original, I guess. The male, because she is derivative of him, but she stands on her own.
Absolutely. She has her own visual uniqueness with it. She could be the lead of a game and it doesn't feel like a knockoff version of Ratchet.
Yeah.
But does she stack up to Lady D?
Nobody does.
No.
Okay.
Oh my god.
What I will say is if you guys wanted to give it to Rivet, I would not oppose that.
It would just be a lie, though.
It would be a lie.
Yeah, it would.
But also, I don't think there's nothing fucking good about Ratchet & Clank besides Rivet.
John.
Harsh, John. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that later. We don't need to talk about that stuff now.
Okay. But I'm just saying, if you want to reward that one element of that game...
We'll see. We'll see what that game will get rewarded.
Okay.
So, John, honestly, 2 against 1 for that game, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to work out some strategies.
I guess when it comes out to that, it's just what time do you guys want to go home at?
I'm home. I'm not going anywhere. No. Okay, Lady D. Okay.
Lady D is the winner.
Instantly iconic from the get-go. Everyone went crazy when they saw her.
I think there's an argument to be made of she's only in the first third of the game, or she's only this bit, or she's only this bit. I think she is amazing horror. She is uncanny, surreal horror backed by an absolutely flawless design and an amazing performance. No character moment hit me harder this year than Lady D tossing her giant dresser, or finding Lady D's giant bathtub.
Yeah, her giant heels.
So scary, I think the only thing you could take away from her is I just wish they'd done more.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like
Yeah,
when
I really missed her when she was not in the game.
Yeah.
she's just so like captivating. They could have done a whole game with her in it, and everyone would have been happy.
The like vision of Lady D floating down a opulent golden hallway to murder me is one of the most impactful things I saw this year.
She's so delighted and so confident and in control of that
She's
situation.
so angry that you're killing her daughters. Like, she gets so mad.
But I love that dualism to her as well. Like, she hates you so much, but she loves her daughters, so she like feels very rounded out, like even with just like these two very stark emotions that she's showing. And just the character work, the character modeling in Resident Evil 8 Village is so good that you see her like crinkle her nose and her like makeup powdering on her. She's just so well realized. She feels like a classic monster, like Hammer monster,
and like
character.
Resident Evil has a lot of like iconic monsters and stuff for sure, but like to me, like she is immediately as iconic as like even like the tyrants or something, or the hunters or lickers or anything. Like I don't know that there is a single thing in Resident Evil that made a bigger impact on her. And like you could boil some of it down to like internet memedom, and sure, but like those memes got their passion from somewhere, and it's her.
But like different communities did different things. Like let's just say the lesbians were very happy this year. There's loads of fan comics, there is loads of fan fiction. Maid X Lady D, it's very, very good.
Maid?
Yeah, it's like a maid OC character that goes to the castle to clean and fall in love.
So, as Neve said that, both her hands kind of touched her face, and she kind of tilted her head a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit of embarrassment, but then, you know...
Oh, but genuine love as well.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's no real argument against Lady D. Like, we all love her so much, and like...
Yeah, and her voice and motion capture is really good. The woman who does her, Maggie Robertson, she won a Game Award, and that was like the one Game Award category where I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. And I just, on top of everything you could say about her, like all the horny posting, all just the, oh, she's a cool character, or this is really fucking weird, I just think she's an amazing piece of horror. Like, I loved her in that game so much. Congratulations to Lady Demetress. Is it Demetress or Demetrescu?
I've looked it up, and there's like so many different pronunciations.
Congratulations to Lady D.
Yeah, Lady D.
Lady D.
Capcom themselves lose the U at the end, and it's Lady Demetress.
Good girl.
That was always going to happen, I guess. Next new category. Brian, take this one away. You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I drink water weird. Went down the breathing tube rather than the drinking tube. Okay. The next category is Best DLC/Expansion. And we have 5 here. We got the Control Expansion 2 AWE, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Episode Intermission, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, that was Part 1 and Part 2, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, specifically Bowser's Fury. And then the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass Volume 2, which concluded earlier this year.
Okay. Right away, let's get Final Fantasy Intergrade Intermission out of here, because...
John, Intergrade Episode Intermission.
I'm sorry.
You have to say the whole thing.
Let's get Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Episode Intermission out of here. Which is the Yuffie DLC. That DLC is 20 good minutes at the very start, and it's like, oh shit, Luffy, they made Yuffie like really cool and interesting, and then the rest of that sinks into the absolute worst of the Final Fantasy VII Remake combined with Nomura bullshit storytelling. I don't fucking care if he didn't write it. I don't know. I'm heading off any comment right now. I don't need this little sister surrogate bullshit in my game. This was bad. Get rid of it.
Cut.
Bye.
Brian, a lot of these are yours, so how are you feeling about Hyrule Warriors?
The Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC was mostly very good. Some of it was mostly cosmetic as well. It was fine. It was enough that I ended up playing 60 hours of Hyrule Warriors this year, according to my Switch online.
I mean, that's something.
That's something. A lot of that was just an addiction, though. So there's pros and cons to that. I'm fine cutting it here and there because there's 2 other Nintendo games that I put on this that I would root for more.
Okay. Whew, okay, well, we're going to cut that one. Control Expansion 2, the Alan Wake one, AWE, was like a real treat for Alan Wake / Control fans. If you're a fan of Remedy, having these 2 characters come together and meet is just like, it's like a moment. Like, I was very, very pleased.
It's a really good setup as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play this one, I played the other one that came out.
Foundation.
Yeah, because Foundation came out pretty quickly after the main game wrapped up. Mm-hmm. But then this was kind of towards the end of last year or something like that. Like it
came out this year. I think it was the start of this year.
Started this year, okay. But it was good.
I really liked it. It wasn't... You see, I think Foundation's better. It has its own very... Like, Foundation has its own distinctive level design with all this red sand and just, like, looks so visually different, where you're kind of back into another area of the Bureau with the Alan Wake one. But with this, they kind of bring in shining a light at the dark goo, which is an Alan Wake thing. Like, gameplay-wise and aesthetically, it didn't do much for me as a DLC, but connecting the worlds, it did a lot, and it really kind of brought in the horror elements that we're going to now see with the now announced Alan Wake 2, which they've kind of said is going to be a survival horror. Yeah. And that was introduced here, and this is how these characters meet. So I feel like this is going to become so relevant with Alan Wake 2. So that was the plus side of this.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't as fleshed out and as big and as fun, and the powers weren't as interesting as Foundation. So for that reason, I'm up for cutting it. There's a really spooky photo of Alan from this as well.
Let's see.
That poor man.
Oh, whoa.
Is that like a photograph or is that actual...
That's a photo you find in the file because Alan kind of appears to you, and there's another version of Alan, which you might know from the Alan Wake games, and he's worried and scared about this version of Alan. So in some ways, maybe it's a little weird that you have this DLC as your kind of like starting point for this kind of new Remedy journey that we're going to be going on. But also it's like a real treat for Control fans and Alan Wake fans. And just to see this kind of new model of Alan Wake is great as well. Good DLC.
All right.
Is there anything we feel like super positive about?
Yeah, Bowser's Fury.
See, I'm not a fan of Bowser's Fury.
I loved it.
Yeah, I a lot of people did. I think my problem with it is more like this is the future of Mario because I just don't see how.
Can I do Smash Brothers first?
Go for it.
Okay, so I've got the Smash Brothers Ultimate Fighters Pass Volume 2. So this was what came out. We had Min Min from ARMS. Mm-hmm. We had Steve and Alex from Minecraft. Mm-hmm. We had Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. We had Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We had Kazuya from Tekken, and we had Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, you know, the only one of them I really love is Sephiroth.
Sephiroth is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he's so good.
Like, the other ones were fine. I don't like ARMS, and I don't like Min Min. Steve and Alex in Minecraft, they did that about as best as they could, but I've never been a Minecraft fan.
Yeah, same.
What they did with Sephiroth was amazing. He came out at the end of last year, and you could get him a couple of days early if you did a special Sephiroth side quest in which you had to play it on like a very difficult mode and fight a bunch of bosses in a row, and then you could fight Sephiroth. And that was a lot of fun, and it had its own special menu and everything, and you used the same like sound effects when you like went through it. It was very well done, and it was kind of strange that they only did it for Sephiroth. They've never done that for any other character, I don't think.
Yeah.
Pyra and Mithra are super fun to play as. Kazuya is super fun to play as, and I don't like Kingdom Hearts, but they did Sora pretty well. He's fun to play as.
Yeah, I haven't looked at him. I was just like, okay, that makes sense, and didn't touch him. You know, like, I'm okay with, I think, giving this to Bowser's Fury. I don't really have a strong feeling about anything. I wasn't a fan of Bowser's Fury just because, to me, it was just like, it was basically Mario levels, except you had to run to them. Or surf to them, I guess.
Yeah, I loved it.
What was it that you liked about it?
I loved how it controlled, and...
But it controlled like a Mario game.
I love the Mario 3D World controls more than the Mario Odyssey controls.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, yeah.
And I don't like Mario Odyssey. I think this is where we need to come in and remind people who are new. We don't like Super Mario Odyssey. I don't think any of us have any particular fondness for the game or would be willing to kind of like defend it if it was under fire.
Yeah.
I don't like how that game is paced out. I found the pacing of this game better in its gameplay loop of how it rewarded you with the cat stuff.
Yeah.
I liked that it kind of told you what it was from the very beginning, and I was able to kind of wrap my head around it that way.
Yeah.
Whether it's the case that this is the future for 3D Mario, I'd rather it wasn't. I just kind of found it to be a fun experiment.
Yeah, like I think I just like 3D Mario 3D World so much better, and like the format of that and how weird and experimental that was, like just every single level. And this just did not feel like that to me. This just felt like very standard 3D Mario. If you feel strongly about it, Brian, I'm okay. Is there anything that you feel strongly about on the DLC side?
Just the control one. I really I liked it, but I don't know if I would fight Brian for Bowser's Fury. The last boss in the control.
Yeah, who is it?
AWE's like it's Heartman, and he's extended and bent over, and there's like limbs kind of growing out of him, and because you're playing with that dark light scenario, you have to light up generators so you can attack him in that area, because if you walk into the dark, he will just kill you. So you have to kind of manage brightening up areas while taking down his damage. It's just like it's more control, and if you like control, which I did a lot, like it was very fulfilling for me on the Alan Wake control points of it. I don't think it didn't feel like it was trying to reinvent anything in the same way or like introduce anything like Bowser's Fury. I would want to put the Control DLC over the Smash Bros roster.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But I'll give it to Bowser.
See, the thing is, I can make you a trade. There's a different category coming up, and there is a very special game on that list.
Okay.
That I'm a freak for.
Okay.
An absolute fucking diehard fucking freak, to the point that I would sabotage myself over it. But that's got to be a deal.
So what, you'll give me Control expansion as the best expansion of the year?
Yeah, just saying. I'll step down Bowser's Fury. I won't argue it any further.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I love Jesse in this. I like Alan. I like that photo of Alan Wake is just
I have no dogs in this fight.
Is good enough for me to want, this to win. Like I saw that photo and I screenshotted it instantly. I was just like, yeah.
I'm going to put out that photo on social media because it is deeply upsetting.
It's like Alan Wake, what's always been kind of spooky about it is like Alan is just such a self-obsessed writer who kind of sucks a lot. It has this weird relationship to Silent Hill where it's kind of a self-obsessed guy in like looking for his wife in a spooky village with like dark shapes. But they weren't survival horror, and now they're like, you know what? Let's go down that path. So if you want your spiritual Silent Hill, maybe you'll find it in Alan Wake, and I think this was a cool setup for that. To connect it to the Bureau and just freaky shit happening.
It's a cryptid. Mm-hmm. Okay, Niamh, you know how we do artwork?
Yeah.
Can the artwork for Control expansion to AWE be that image of Alan Wake looking very distressed? Because that kind of just seals it.
Cool. So the best DLC of the year. I hope it released this year.
Hey, it doesn't. Look, DLC gets a longer timeline because DLC is kind of weird and abstract like that, and sometimes you don't get it right away. Mm-hmm. It's DLC. It's an afterthought. Sometimes they do amazing stuff with it. Sometimes they do not so amazing stuff with it. And when it's something that's enticing and it gets you going, that's a very special thing.
Cool. I don't even think this came out this year, but
oh, guys, come on, I don't know about that.
When did it come out?
Uh-oh.
If it was late last year, I'll let it slide, like November.
How do you feel about August 27th, the end of August?
No, I don't think we can do this. We have to have some integrity here.
Shit.
Well, whoopsies.
And does Bowser's
I guess congratulations to Bowser's Fury.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to have to fight you hard on whatever you want then.
No!
I mean, Brian, we can make a deal.
Oh, I'll make deals. I'm playing my cards real bad now. Betting on weird horses. Not wrong horses, weird horses.
That's okay.
Okay, congratulations to the Bowser's Fury expansion that was part of Super Mario 3D World, which had very little adjustments made to it on its Wii U to Switch port. But the expansion of Bowser's Fury was very welcomed by myself and, to a lesser extent, John for maybe 10 minutes.
I beat it. I just think it's shit.
10 minutes.
No, it's not shit. It is like, it was interesting. It did try stuff, just none of what it did landed with me. But like, it's not badly made, and like some of the Bowser stuff they did was like conceptually interesting. I just don't think it worked.
A weird angry dad who can't control his temper.
Yeah, you know, and like that stuff's fun. And like the bit where the Bowser Jr. paints you a painting was really cute.
That was very good.
Yeah.
Okay, next category, and we got some humdingers in this one.
This is a drag out brawl. This one.
Yeah, this is best boss fight, which wasn't there last year, but is again this year. The last time we did it, I think, was in 2019, and it was, I think,
Sekiro.
Yeah, Sekiro with the Great Ape. That one.
I think that might have been best moment.
Was that best moment?
I don't know. I fucking can't remember. But
anyway, boss fights are kind of like a best moment. They all kind of mishmash into one.
Yep.
But we got six bosses right here.
Sex bosses.
Sex bosses. We got 6 sexy bosses ready to sex upon us. John, you want to read them out?
Okay, we got Nagoriyuki from Guilty Gear Strive, Ravenbeak from Metroid Dread, the Fetus, Resident Evil Village, Vash Katar from Boomerang X, Velvet Chair Girl, No More Heroes 3, and Foo from No More Heroes 3.
That's Jean-Baptiste the 6th, aka Foo.
AKA Foo. The fact that there's 2 boss battles from No More Heroes 3 is showing a lot of restraint on my part.
I think that's fair. That game is very much based around boss fights. I think it gets 2 slots.
Okay. First off, Nagoriyuki. I think Nagoriyuki would have been a great contender for best character, but I think that was just kind of a stacked category this year, and I think
especially up against Giovanna, who's way cooler than him, even though he's...
I don't know, they're both so fucking cool, but anyway...
But Giovanna's way cooler than him.
The die is cast, but what I would say, the actual boss fight against Nagoriyuki is really fucking shit, because they just load him up with HP, and they give him all these game-breaking moves,
it's
and
not fun.
He's really hard to beat, but not in a fun way. Like, in a way that, like, okay, I hope he doesn't use this move, because if he does, I can't beat him.
Because, like, he's fun to play as against someone online, and it's a human being controlling him.
Yeah.
But whatever the way the AI is in the single-player arcade,
he basically busted. Has a bunch of, like, invincibility frames that make fighting him just, like, a kind of roll of the dice, because it's like, if he activates the move that does these invincibility frames, he's just going to kill me. But, Nagoriyuki, amazing addition to Guilty Gear. Like, like a damn near perfect character, but I'd be comfortable cutting his boss fight.
Sure. I'm going to cut the Fetus from Resident Evil Village.
Ooh.
Or do you want to hold him a bit longer?
I think we could hold him just for
Okay. Because has some pros, has some cons. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we do Velvet Chair Girl? Because the thing I like most of Velvet Chair Girl is the song that accompanies her, but the boss battle is musical chairs. It
is, and that's what makes it shit, and that's what makes it amazing. You know, like,
and the fact that afterwards you fight that weird amoeba thing.
But it's also the cutscene beforehand by the Pop Team Epic guys. Like, that is such a good boss fight, but it's not great as well. You know. Oh,
I actually have the name written of that studio because I like them so much. ACBU. That opening is super cool. Oh shit, that opening is really good.
Yeah.
But is her fight better than Foo's fight?
You see, when I think about Foo on this list, I think about all you have seen with Foo and everything you have been through with Foo and how monumental it feels actually fighting him. And that to me is like the mark of like a stellar boss.
Well, then on the subject of that, the Boomerang X final boss is just such a great boss. It is a accumulation of everything you've learned.
All the mechanics all
together to the point that you have to learn to fly. There is no floor and you're just like in a vortex. And it is basically if a sacred heart...
And the vortex is lightning, so if you touch it, you cannot, like, there's so much stuff you cannot be in contact with.
Mm-hmm. And it's basically a Sacred Heart Evangelion, where it's a giant floating heart with spikes through it, with 2 eels interlocking, floating up around it. And you have to not touch the eels, not touch the hearts, not touch the spikes, but like smash golden bands around each of the eels. It's just like it is accumulation of every single thing you've learned and every combat encounter to that point. And it's like, I don't know, it is godlike. It was, when I first played it, I was like, this is one of the coolest visuals I've seen in a game.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre, surreal experience, but it's grounded in its mechanics. It's done really well. We also have Ravenbeak on this, and
which is a fantastic boss fight.
I love that Ravenbeak fight.
So good.
Because
it's kind of similar in that like you have to use every single thing you learned.
Yeah. And it has a bunch of like set pieces in it, and like it kind of feels like a character action game towards the end.
Totally.
And like, the cutscenes are so good.
He'll use these attacks where it's like, well, there's no way I could ever avoid that. And then like 6 tries later, you've got it down. And it's so good.
It's so good when you get, because like he's got like 3 phases, I think, but the first few times you fight him, you die in the first phase. But as soon as you learn all his moves and how to like deal with him, you're invincible for the first couple of phases. Yeah. Like there's nothing to your health, and like he's extremely manageable, even though he comes across as overwhelming.
Yeah,
like which is what you want in a boss battle as well. That it's daunting until you kind of figure them out. And that's the thing with Velvet Chair Girl. There isn't that there. That's more of a kind of gimmick that wins you over, but isn't a intimate dance.
I guess with Velvet Chair Girl, it's such a great piece of spectacle, but I guess hearing the arguments for Ravenbeak and Vash, I think I'm okay with letting Velvet Chair Girl go.
Yeah, I love that song so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So that means we have the Fetus, Vash Katar, Ravenbeak, and Fu.
Yes. What do we like out of those the most?
I have a strong emotional attachment towards Fu, because I realised too late that he wasn't on best character list and he should have been runner-up.
Yeah, he's very good.
But
he's a very good villain.
I don't know. I feel like in the spirit of this particular award, because like his boss fight is great, it's really good. It does not reach the gameplay heights of Ravenbeak or the Vash, but I also think like narratively it hits a lot harder than those.
Yeah, and see the thing with the Fetus in Resident Evil Village is that in the narrative, it kind of feels disjointed. Completely.
It kind of comes out of nowhere, and they're like, here's our Visage moment.
I do like that about it in a weird way, though, because I love that it's just like, it's the biggest, wait, what the fuck is that moment I have had in a game in the longest time? And I love that. But like, what you're saying is right. Like, there is no kind of build up. That's why he should have been the giant baby in Lady D's nursery.
No.
Yeah.
No, Lady D does not have children.
It's not her child.
Yeah, who were made from bugs. She doesn't have a giant baby.
This is a weird experiment. I don't know. She found a baby in the snow and she made a big Neve. I don't know.
No one needs a baby. She has a wine room. She doesn't have time for a baby.
Neve, she lives in a castle where there is a baby room. It doesn't have to be her baby. She doesn't have to be a mom. It's just that's her mom. The mom is a different character. The mom is the maid who's in love with Lady D. I don't know. Fit it into your stupid fucking fanfiction, Neve.
Look, she is not. She's not pregnant. Don't worry.
I like the Fetus. I like it. I like that it kind of comes out of nowhere, but I also find it a little like disjointed. But that's so much of Village in general, because it's so many different genres and different ideas.
Maybe we're leaning a little more into the Velvet Chair Girl argument, where it's like it's kind of nearly more a great moment than a boss fight.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think on those grounds, I'm okay with Couldn't Fetus.
Okay.
But that leaves Fu, Vash Katar, and Ravenbeak.
I'll cut Vash Katar because, like, while there's a gameplay build up to it, and the spectacle of it is pretty amazing. Like, it is generally one of the best spectacles I had this year, because that game starts so small, where you're on a little beach and you just get a boomerang, and ultimately you are flying in a thunderstorm with a god snake, and
it's full on third impact. It's ridiculous looking.
It looks super cool, but like, I guess narratively, there isn't much narrative through this,
and
so it's
not a
kind
lead
of
up
spectacle.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
See, the thing with Fu and Ravenbeak is you were introduced to them at the beginning of the game, and you were and
They both kick the shit out of you in hour 1.
And you're told, I don't like this person, and I'm looking forward to returning the favor when I am stronger. Mm-hmm. And that is narratively satisfying, as well as gameplay satisfying.
I like that in a boss fight. I like it reaching all those heights, like gameplay and emotional kind of stuff, and narrative. So yeah, I'll cut Boomerang X.
Okay, so then there's Fu and Ravenbeak, and I'm gonna have to push Ravenbeak just because I fucking hate that jerk, and it felt so good to shoot him in his stupid dumb face.
So Brian, what's this category that you feel very strongly about?
Best old game.
You know, I'm just saying, Ribbit King's looking awful good, and if we can just...
Oh no, it's not Ribbit King.
Really?
No.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, well look, whatever fucking bullshit you have planned.
I think Ravenbeak's better.
I think Ravenbeak is a better fight and a worse character.
Lord Fu's a very, very fun character.
Whenever Fu is on screen, it is the best moment of No More Heroes. And it's not just that like he's this homicidal surfer alien. He has like legit relationships with people you take away from him. And I love that. I love like those moments of Fu getting like, you know, going out for ramen with one of his alien generals, and they're like, you know, it's a real far shot and it's all black and white and atmospheric, and there's like, it establishes a genuine connection between him and whoever he's with in that moment. I think those moments are powerful, and it brings this kind of pathos into that fight in a way that I don't think anything else this year has. I think the actual fight itself is great. I loved it, like, and I know I played it on hard, which is like a different experience from other people, but I really had to use everything in my repertoire to beat him, and I barely beat him, and it was so satisfying. I don't think mechanically it makes as good a use out of the different gameplay elements as Ravenbeak's fight. Like, his fight is just, it is just supremely, like, take everything you have learned.
Yeah, like at some points it's a bullet hell, but it's also like a 2D platformer.
Yeah, and it is incredible. Like, whichever one of these wins, like it's a great fight, and I think it was a great year for boss fights. But for me, when I think of like the boss that made the biggest impact on me this year and just felt so monumental fighting him, it is Fu.
For me, it's Ravenbeak.
Do you want to make an argument, or do you want to just...
I like the simplicity of Ravenbeak because I guess in No More Heroes they indulge their characters. In the Metroid franchise, they don't indulge the characters generally. They're kind of, the less you know about them, the better. But when you're introduced to Ravenbeak and it's a alien who is also wearing a power suit that is kind of reminiscent of yours, but is clearly on opposition.
And he's a Chozo, which is fucking awesome.
He's a Chozo warrior, and right away you're just like, okay, this means trouble, because he knows what I can do and he's going to take advantage of that. And he does, and he strips you of your powers, and from the get-go you are just rebuilding yourself until you can get back to his level up at the top. And it's broken down into a couple of different phases and sections, and by the end of it you get a super cool cutscene that is a good mixture of fan service, but doesn't like it's silly, but it doesn't feel like embarrassing or kind of cringy, and you just blast his fucking face off with this big giant beam.
Fu turns into an alternate reality that you have to fight.
That is true.
As someone who hasn't like experienced either of these boss fights, I feel like Ravenbeak's design is something you could tell me that's in Destiny, and I would go, yes, that looks like a Destiny character. Fu, I have never seen a design quite like Fu. Just the red leather pants, the blue, like the
cape.
The cape. It's all very, very good.
Hair.
Like, I really enjoy Fu aesthetically.
Yeah. John, is Fu your favorite boss battle in No More Heroes 3?
I think without opening back up to like the Velvet, because No More Heroes 3 has other Velvet Chair Girl moments.
Yeah,
like the last boss fight of No More Heroes 3 is one of the best things I've ever seen. I don't think it's like an amazing boss fight in what like I love from boss fights, but the fact that it turns into a game of Smash Brothers is just the funniest fucking thing in the world. And I'd nearly say that's nearly a better moment than Fu, but I think just in terms of like creating a character making him like charismatic and weird and cool and just like no other character ever. Like I can't think of a single other character who's like Fu. I can think of other characters who are like Ravenbeak.
That is true. Okay, I'll give it to Fu.
Congratulations, Lord Fu.
I'm a goddamn superhero.
Jess Baptiste the Sixth.
Yeah,
cool dude.
No More Heroes 3 could have been a disaster in so many different ways. I think one of the ways it really isn't is this character. No More Heroes has never had like a good build you up to fight someone. Like Henry from the first game a little bit, and then like I thought they completely botched it in the second one with fucking Burger Lord or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the stupid guy in the flying chair car
and
thing.
This was just the best. Like I was so enamored with No More Heroes, and Fu was a huge part of that, and I think like he's a great winner for best boss fight. Congratulations, Fu. Lord Fu. Okay, and moving on. Brian, you did not make a deal with me last round, so
I can make a deal now. Lint chocolate.
Lint's chocolate. We had a little chocolate break there.
Yeah,
it's very good.
And we're all feeling nice and mellow now. For best old game.
This is my favorite category.
This is the kind of the Brian category traditionally.
Well, one year we had cutest,
until now.
One year we had cutest video game character, but that's only on a rare occasion that a bunch of cute new characters.
You need a very specific lineup for that category.
Yeah. Oh, every year these games will change because it depends on what gets released.
Yeah. Best old game is my favorite category because new video games do not entice me the way old video games do. I love games from the 90s and early 2000s. Turn of the millennium, give me that shit. We got 5 games here. Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, Going Under, Hollow Knight, Magical Poppin', and Ribbit King.
Fuck is Magical Poppin'?
Magical Poppin' Twinbee! Neve!
No, that's a different... Poppin' Twinbee is a completely different game.
Oh, I know. Magical Poppin', yes.
Magical Poppin'. No, I'm going to point it out right now. I'll make a deal with both of you for Magical Poppin' to win. Magical Poppin' is one of my favorite games I've ever played in my whole life.
This was the one with the sex worker as the voice actress.
Porn star.
Yeah.
And she passed away, but she voices the main character of Magical Poppin'. It is a 2D platformer adventure on the Super Nintendo. It pushed the hardware to the limit. The game shits itself. I love it. And the soundtrack is amazing. You will hear the Magical Poppin' soundtrack in so many different YouTubers because it's solid.
We played this one night, didn't we, Brian?
I think so. I think I showed it to you.
And it was very cool.
I want to own a physical edition of this game, fully boxed with instructions.
I'm looking at one right now.
How much? Are we
113 euro, which is not as bad
Brian
as I thought it would be.
Brian will make that decision at some point.
Oh, Neve, I've seen it. I think that might be an old listing. I've seen it go for like 600.
Oh, yeah, this is not in stock.
Do you think you could ever spend that much on like if it was the game?
I think it's look. I don't know when I'm going to own this, but I'm going to own this game. And when I die, I'm going to be buried with it.
Magical Poppin'?
Yeah. Maybe Mario 64. That's a really good game too. I love Magical Poppin' so much, and we could talk about the other games now.
Okay. So I played Castlevania Aria of Sorrow this year.
That game's amazing.
It's a fantastic game. It's really, really good. I would say a notch below Symphony of the Night for me personally. It does not look as good blown up because it was a Game Boy Advance game, and with that you lose a lot of the atmosphere and like especially environmental art that was so strong about Symphony of the Night. But it's still a great game in its own right. Last boss is fucking insane. Don't know how people do that without some of the cheaty bullshit they give you in the new version, but I had a really good time with it. However, I did not have quite as good time of it as I did with Hollow Knight, which has risen to one of my favorite games of last generation. Just fucking spectacular game, especially like when you really get into it and start like, customizing your particular builds with all the different badges you can get. I love the storytelling, I love the characters, I love the environment, so many little great moments. I would be pushing for Hollow Knight to win this. The only thing is I feel like the spirit of best old game has always been something weird and stupid and old that we found before. Like, that's, gone kind of under a lot of people's radar, and I think Magical Poppin' kind of fits that a bit better than Hollow Knight. But then, Neve, I know you got a lot out of Going Under as well.
Well, I always thought the feel of Best Old Game was an old game that people may have missed that we're kind of drawing attention to.
Now, one year we did give it to Bloodborne.
Yeah. That's if something didn't get an award for bullshit reasons.
But also Bloodborne's my favorite game ever made, so I will die on that hill too. So.
Yeah. So Magical Poppin', like, a lot of people aren't going to go and play this.
They should. It's amazing. It's the greatest game ever made. It's better than Bloodborne. It's my favorite game.
Neve, you're winning me over.
Going Under is a satirical dungeon crawler about exploring the cursed depths of failed startups. So one of the dungeons is like a crypto dungeon.
So it's also like socially relevant nowadays.
Very socially
interesting. Wow. Brian, is Magical Poppin' socially relevant in any way?
Yeah.
What is it?
Cool girl.
Well, that's disappointing.
Neve, cool girl.
There's another dungeon in Going Under, which is online dating focused, and you can go on a date with a monster, and if you beat them in that boss fight, they'll continue with you down the dungeon to fight with you, and that's very nice. You can have
really
a little
cool
relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's kind of all I need to hear. Brian, do you want to say anything about Ribbit King before we cut it?
Ribbit King is very good frog game. It's also a golf game. Golf sucks.
Okay, fair.
You play Frolf, which is frog golf, and I love certain aspects of this game, such as the cutscenes and visuals, but when it comes down to it, you are playing golf with a frog. That has a good last word in its sentence, but it does have the start of you are playing golf.
Golf is terrible.
Golf sucks.
Yeah.
And so that's why it gets cut.
Okay. So, I guess congratulations to Going Under.
No.
20...
No.
Well, what do you not understand, Brian?
So is this against Going Under, Hollow Knight, and Magical Poppin'?
I can cut. Everyone knows Hollow Knight's good. I can cut Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight reached number 19 in our 2018 Game of the Year list.
That's not high enough. That is not high enough.
I was the only person who played it and liked it, and you didn't give a shit about it.
I bet I didn't, and I was wrong. But that, you know what? My fault. I fucked up.
Honestly, I don't really like roguelikes that much.
Stop it.
But Going Under is the game that made me like them.
So that opened you up to a whole new genre.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've heard all I need to hear.
There's different
because Neve's going to play so many roguelikes now.
There's different characters in Going Under that you can meet, and they'll give you different power-ups, and your relationships and bond with them will grow, so the power-up will change. There's different pickup abilities. There's loads of fun little items that you can use as weapons. You can get in a little car and drive around and
that is amazing.
knock people over in a room.
Give me Magical Poppin' and I'll make a deal with you for our main Game of the Year thing.
I'll take it. You can't make a deal with both of us, Brian.
He can make a deal with both of us, excuse you.
I'm making individual handshake deals with John.
It's COVID, we can't.
Okay, touch my finger. There you go. Neve, an individual
you
and me deal, excluding John.
Okay.
I've made 2 deals with 2 people separately.
Neve, do you want to just fuck him over? It'd be so good. It would be so good. Imagine how spicy he'll be for the rest of this list.
I don't give a fuck. Magical Poppin' is the best game I played this year. Fuck all the games that came out in 2021. Magical Poppin' fucking forever.
Neve, walk the devil's path with me. Let's do this.
Going Under it brings corporate animation, but does a fun twist on it that makes it palatable for a gamer like me to play.
I'm putting my vote in for Going Under. I'm voting for Going Under.
No, Magical Poppin', please, Magical Poppin', please.
There's a sexy little demon who flirts with you, and your character doesn't realize she's being flirted with, and then if you don't respond correctly, the demon stops flirting with you, and you leave the room where you buy those potions, and she's like, shit, she was trying to hit on me. Very good moment.
That's very good.
Think about the long con in this. You got to think about games that we played this year.
Oh, Brian,
that
look,
you were pushing.
I'll take your little deal.
I will also take your deal.
Think about it. It's going to be worth it, John.
I've thought about it. I'll take your deal.
I still think we should walk the devil's path, Neve.
John,
I don't want to fight too hard for Going Under.
John, there are games that, because we have an uneven number, which is number 3, there are games that you don't like, that we don't like, that Neve does.
This is Plants and Payoff. Number three.
Number
Okay.
3.
At some point, we activate our card. We activate the Brian favor by declaring Devil Deal.
Okay.
And we're not explaining that. If someone listens to the main show and doesn't listen to the pre-show, fuck them. It's their own fault.
Okay, so
Brian,
each of you get a Devil Deal
congratulations. Magical Poppin' is best old game.
Thank you so much. It's my favorite game ever made.
Brian, what year did Magical Poppin' release in?
I don't know. It must actually be
2021.
Just so we know what year the
Magical
best old game.
Poppin'. It only came out in Japan on the Super Famicom on the 10th of March 1995. I played a fan translation ROM patch of it, and it was absolutely delightful. I had a big smile on my face the entire time, and I still think about my experiences as Magical Poppin' going on a quest that is only like approximately six levels long.
I played this with Brian, and like he's not exaggerating. It is a delight. It is such a special, weird little game.
Cover art by Takami Akai, who then worked in Gainax and then stepped down from working in Gainax after the Gurren Lagann thing happened.
What's the Gurren Lagann? I don't need to know.
There was an episode of Gurren Lagann that aired, and it got a lot of negative feedback from fans, and Gainax staff were making fun of the fans online, and it was one of the first kind of like developers talk, or like people who make the thing engaging with fans on social media, and it backfiring.
Okay.
And someone ended up getting fired.
Yes. Several people stepped down and got fired. It was a whole thing. Yeah. But very, very talented artists who also happened to do the cover art for Magical Poppin', and it's one of those things where the cover art does not match the visuals of the game, which is even better.
Real super weird tangent. You guys see anything with Gretzko?
No.
There's a bit in it. There's a bit in it where basically it's that thing with Japanese companies where they will never fire you, but they will deem you unworthy and pressure you into quitting. And it's weird and fascinating to see that happen. It's pretty good so far. It's a little too much Haida, but it's good. And here we go.
Our favorite one.
My personal favorite category. Biggest shit show 2021. We always have to give like a little kind of rule here in that we don't like to put things in biggest shit show where people actively get hurt, because the kind of spirit of this is it's like a fun, stupid thing, and we don't really want to mix actual like abuse cases and people who have really, really been harmed. Like this is kind of a lighter stuff, and like those other things are super worthy of criticism, and we have criticized them repeatedly on this podcast. It's just this isn't the place for those conversations to happen.
No, like this has to be on the mild level of mistreatment. It can't be.
Yeah, we draw the line
abuse.
at actual harm happening to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're doing the honorary Randy Pitchford Award. The nominees are
Cyberpunk 2077, because we missed it last year, but that story keeps going. Mm-hmm. Genshin Impact review bombing. Google Stadia first party development ends. The Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the definitive edition launch. Nintendo Switch expansion trailer is the most disliked Nintendo video. Mm-hmm. That's for their expansion with the N64 and Mega Drive. NFTs in games, which is Ubisoft, Peter Molyneux, Stalker 2, and so on. Which of these?
How would you guys, just to toss it on the fire here, how would you guys feel about adding the Quantic Dreams doing Star Wars game on there?
I guess with that, it kind of gets close into the kind of like abuse in game stuff that we kind of want to avoid, of thing.
Yeah, and I guess it's not even like out yet.
No.
Yeah, we don't know what that shit show will be.
That story's going to tell itself.
Okay, you're totally right. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition. What do you guys think of this? Because I think this is like actually a monumental fuck up.
Oh, it is.
I think it's shocking. Yeah.
And like from
especially
Rockstar.
Yeah, and like because it's post Cyberpunk, where like they've seen how bad it can get, and they didn't even like preempt it or try and avoid it. It still happened. I think it got delisted from Steam at one point. I don't know if it's back up or not.
Yeah, it got delisted, but I think it went back up again, and they're like doing fixes for it.
Yeah, but like at launch, it was just an unwanted mess.
And you know what I think is interesting about this? I can't remember if this was the first case of it, but do you remember when Blizzard released the World of Warcraft 3 re-release and it was just hated? And it was one of the first times that people had this moment of like Activision Blizzard being like, whoa, what the fuck? Blizzard? Like, you guys are meant to do things well. Like, you guys are meant to, you know, put in the time and make this shit work. And how is this what you release? For me, this is kind of totally that moment with Rockstar. And then you look at the personnel changes of Rockstar and how, like, you know, a lot of key people have just left there. You know, they're not there anymore. And I wonder, is this the beginning of, like, Red Dead 3 or Grand Theft Auto 6 being terrible?
That scares me.
Yeah.
Like, that bothers me because these games are beloved.
Yep.
Like, these games sell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, you have to do so little except for fucking it up for these to sell. And it's like, it's not only are these like beloved, these are just like iconic games. Like, how could you let them exist in this state? How can you let people see them?
Grand Theft
looking
Auto
like
3
this?
is like an important a game as I think there is. Like, you know, for me personally, Grand Theft Auto 3 is one of the things that sank Shenmue. Like, that's how important that game is.
For sure. And it's kind of set the groundwork for every Rockstar game that has followed.
Yeah, completely. And like they're like, I feel like those games are also like the Tony Hawk games. They're like, they are such a cultural moment, and for them to be just shot out like this is like, I think Matt McMuscles has a good video on it, and he was saying that he couldn't confirm it, but he thinks that the actual studio remastering it had like 21 people for 3 gigantic games.
3 open world games. Yeah, that's a... Okay, maybe don't cut that one just yet. Google Stadia is real funny.
That's super funny.
Because, like, Google can do whatever they want with their tech. They can just throw ideas at the wall. They can just burn money and tank stuff.
Yeah, just black box that shit for 4 years and then let it die.
And Google Stadia is a great example of them trying to do video games and just failing miserably. And I just think the fact that they're not developing first-party games and that they're just going to release whatever their partners will, like...
Ubisoft games,
yeah, like... But just the fact that they're not even, like, encouraging their own development tells you everything you need to know about Google Stadia.
And like everyone knew it. They were like, Google, notorious for just like dumping shit when like, and not ever trying to push it. So people knew this was going to happen. The writing was on the wall, and it did. Like, it just did.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
Oh, also, congratulations to Fallout 76 for not being featured third year in a row.
Seems that's pretty okay now.
Okay, how about the Genshin Impact review bombing? Because you were reading that out a bit earlier on, Neve, and it was pretty funny. It's like
this again. It was the Genshin anniversary event. The events were tied to a lot of kind of sweepstakey stuff. So people were really pissed that you did not get a lot of, like, say, free primo gems or like maybe a 5-star character. Different people had different wants, but there was no collective like idea of what was missing other than it just wasn't enough. And the Genshin fans made their voice heard, but in a really entitled, bratty way.
Gamers rise up.
They review bombed Genshin Impact itself from like a 4.8 to a 2.5 on the Google store, and then they just went after like loads of other gacha games, ones that weren't even developed by the same developer, just pissed in the comments. And it's just like, it's just disappointing. It's kind of like, these kind of things are sad. They were like the frustration at voice actors, and it just like kind of boils down to entitlement from I presume an extremely loud minority of that fan base. But
yeah, I mean, it always is, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think like that's kind of a mess, all that stuff. I think what would make me want to cut it would be like, it's more nearly like the fandom getting super pissed and being silly, and like
it's not a developer fucking up.
Yeah, like, and like they did fuck up a bit.
Yeah,
like that's they did stupid shit for sure. But it's me, the story is nearly more the aftermath than the incidents.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut that, because it looks like all the other ones are responsibilities from the developer for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The Nintendo Switch expansion trailer and the dislikes. It's very convenient that YouTube very quickly after that changed the rules about the dislike button.
Mm-hmm. Which is a move designed to protect massive corporations and nobody else.
Yeah. It's not a good expansion. I have it, and I've played several games on N64 and Mega Drive. Yeah, it's not good. It's not worth the money. It's not a positive experience.
Has it a decent library?
It's fine.
Their library is fine, but they're banking it on like, oh, well, wait till you see what we're gonna do, and it's like, yeah. Neril has a great video on this.
Yeah, they really do the bare minimum.
Yeah, and it's disappointing to see from Nintendo because I would expect better from them on this shit, but they've never been good about maintaining online libraries at all.
Yeah. And I just think the reaction from their audience, and usually Nintendo fans are diehard and they will defend stuff. So it was interesting to see even the hardest of core not defending this. Mm-hmm. And their reaction to it was like, well, don't let us see the bad reaction. Or maybe not, who knows? But it's just very interesting that all of this happened in the one timeline.
Then the last one is NFTs in games, and this seems to be this year, towards the end of this year, a horrible glimpse into the future of games and what they're going to do with blockchain technology.
And what they do with your account when it's not active and what it's doing in the background, because those systems run 24 hours a day.
I feel like there's a whole big conversation to be had about like the value of NFTs and if they're like a good thing or a bad thing, and I think that conversation needs to happen after the environmental impact is reduced to zero, because like until that, and like I don't really like the sound of them outside of that stuff, but like the environment, like it's like, what the fuck are we doing? What, are you insane?
Yeah, because the worst thing is the environmental stuff. Then it becomes an artist scam and hype culture.
But like the artist scam, hype culture stuff, that is totally something I could be like, fucking whatever, let people do their stupid bullshit, I don't care. But the environmental stuff is just like, oh my god, like this is actually like fucking harming the planet and us and everything.
It's terrifying that the reaction to us learning more and more about like how our climate is just like, we're in a climate disaster, and how the response to it from these corporate entities seems to be just like run full tilt into destruction. And it's like, no, like pull it back, guys. And it's just like, but what happens if you could fucking, I don't know, mint yourself as an NPC into Stalker? And it's like, fucking Christ.
Yeah, so I guess this first began this season with Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. They put out their Quartz NFT platform. This is their kind of internal thing. They put out an announcement video. The feedback was immediately bad. 95% dislikes. I don't know how, but like that is a quote, and I was like, but how do you source that? But apparently there's backup websites that display the thumbs up and the thumbs down, but not on main YouTube, obviously, because they've hidden it. And now it's been delisted. You could still watch it if you have the link, but it's no longer like publicly published. Then Peter Molyneux's next game, which I'm sure won't ever actually get made because he's more of an ideas guy than a follow through guy. He was
at the center of the cube, Brian.
Fucking game. So his studio, 22 Cans, their next game is going to do NFTs. And then during the week, there was the Stalker 2 announcement that had immediate backlash. And they did the right thing in that they put out an announcement and said, okay, we're not doing it.
We heard you.
We heard you. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
So there's varying degrees there of it. And
is it that Peter Molyneux's next game has NFT? Yeah, no, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And apparently he's made a shit ton of money off it.
Yeah, already, and the game isn't out.
And probably more money than he's ever made off anything. And
it's depressing.
Okay, I think for me, this list is two categories. It's cyberpunk versus NFTs.
Yeah.
It's ironic that NFTs are more cyberpunk than anything in cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like they're more dystopian and more frightening.
Yeah. High technology, low life.
Cyberpunk, like, it's kind of like, it's hard talking about cyberpunk at the end of 2021 because it's like been out a full year. The drama about cyberpunk has like reached its fever pitch and like petered out. But this game should have never been sold. It is a fucking disaster.
I think if we want to measure cyberpunk, you have to look at CD Projekt's reputation before and after.
Yeah.
And I have never in the history of games seen any one single game so 180 the public perception of a project. it's immense, and it keeps going. Like, you know, there's headlines from 2 days ago about how they settled for like 1.8 million, which is nothing to them, but the fact that it's still like it's been a year, you know.
And Keanu Reeves promoting The Matrix and getting asked about Cyberpunk and being like, I've never played that, despite, you know, selling it. I do like that it pops up every couple of weeks and you're like, what's going on?
To be honest with you, like, with everything that's happened in the last while, whenever Cyberpunk headlines pop up, I'm always like...
Yeah, the PS5 and Xbox Series games were supposed to come out, I think it was like January or February of next year, and now they've been postponed to TBA. But
it was even the cheek of them to come out like mid last year and like show another roadmap for what they were going to do and like their expansions, and it was like, stop it, don't roadmap this.
The hack happened as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because the other example I can think of is No Man's Sky, and
they turned it around.
They really turned around.
Say what you will about No Man's Sky, but they like that is a happy fan base.
Because the dude in charge, Sean Murray, I think that's his name. He went out and told loads of lies in advance of that game, and then the game came out and the dude shut the fuck up, like closed his public image and fixed the game.
I mean, like with Sean Murray, like I really didn't like all the interviews he did. I thought that was all bullshit.
It was so misleading.
He genuinely strikes me now as someone who just didn't know what the fuck he was doing or saying and has learned from it, and like you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Sure ain't seeing anything close to that from Cyberpunk.
No, I'm not seeing them improving from their mistakes.
No Man's Sky was a small team who then like righted that ship. Cyberpunk is kind of one of the biggest, probably most talented teams in like game dev that were given a poisonous production schedule.
And like the developers, they had to be incredibly hardworking, incredibly talented people, because CD Projekt don't tolerate anything less, and that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But oh man, just a like the like I don't know that there is a more textbook case of a shit show than Cyberpunk, and all like not just its release last year, but all the way through this year. I just don't know that it's worse than NFTs, but I think NFTs are also so bad they nearly verge on the this is just harmful, depressing shit. I think in a way I think nearly Cyberpunk is more, it's nearly more in the spirit of this award.
Okay.
Especially a year out from it, when like most of the damage has been done and now it's just like the funny footnotes and kind of like final gags we're getting.
Yeah. I think NFTs are worse than Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I think Cyberpunk is the biggest shit show 2021.
Absolutely.
Way to win a Randy, guys.
Big fucking Randy.
So guys, that's gonna do it, I think, for the pre-show. How you guys feeling? How do you think this year's Game of the Year is going? I think it's been good. I think it's been spicy.
Yeah.
We've been recording for just over an hour. There's going to be a bunch of goobers and goofs cut, but this is usually how the pre-show goes. It's roughly an hour, but then the main show, that fucker's huge.
This was a good entree. Now get ready for some fucking dinner.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy a lovely song from Yones.
No.
Nope.
Hazel.
Fuck.
Try again.
Enjoy our outro.
There you go.
There you go.